Hello and welcome to The Gaggle, where we challenge and, if necessary, destroy media narratives. I'm George Szamuely. With me today, of course, is co-founder of The Gaggle, Peter Lavelle, host also of RT's talk show, Crosstalk. Well, yesterday, there was a remarkable article in Politico magazine, and there was also an interesting item of the same subject on Tucker Carlson's show, which revealed that not only are people who were arrested because of the events of January the 6th, still being kept locked up in prison months later, still, without any charges being brought against them, waiting for trial, denied bail, but that some of these people are actually being beaten and tortured. These defendants have come to court with their attorneys and have shown evidence of physical damage. So, and what they've described are quite shocking, that they're being picked on by prison guards, and these prison guards are often members of minority, and they use very nasty racial epithets as they use violence against these defendants, including that the one with the famous photo with his feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk. He has been subjected to violence. So this is troubling, to say the least, that this is the kind of thing that goes on in American prisons. And again, it's understandable given the hysteria that the media have been spreading about these people, these insurrectionists, these seditionists, conspiracists, or whatever. So that's troubling. And then what's also troubling, and Peter, you've talked about this, is the Matt Gaetz affair. The media continually covering, Matt Gaetz, sex trafficking, Matt Gaetz, underage girl. And so they keep repeating this over and over and over again, even though no young woman or no woman of any kind has come forward to allege any sexual impropriety against Gaetz. I mean, he may well have engaged in improprieties, but no one has alleged anything against him personally in the way they have against Andrew Cuomo. And today, the New York Times is running with a story saying that, well, Matt Gaetz had asked Trump for a pardon, in his last days in office. Then when you read this, as usual, interminable article at Times, it turns out that it was something that Gaetz had said in public when he said Trump should pardon everybody, himself, his staff, anyone within his administration, anyone who had defended him, should be a preemptive pardon for everyone, which was certainly a commendable argument. But the slant of this Times article is that somehow, well, he knew that this big investigation is taking place against him, and he had asked for a preemptive pardon. And in the meantime, we still have to wonder, what is this investigation about? What is it that he is supposed to have done? I mean, where is this young woman, the 17-year-old young woman? And this business of, he was sex trafficking. I don't, paying for somebody's hotel bills. I don't know, is that now against the law? I mean, I need clarification about that. All right, Peter.
It's really interesting because part of this Matt Gaetz story is that apparently in the House of on the floor of the House of Representatives, he showed what.
Yes, I read those stories as well, but the people who have come forward with that still have not been identified, who have seen.
Yes, but what's the interesting thing is that how do we know about these alleged pictures? Is it anonymous sources within the Congress itself, meaning his colleagues? Right. Okay, these are the anonymous sources. Okay, so there's a concerted effort to go after Matt Gaetz until there's concrete confirmed information. I'm going to withhold judgment because until you do that, it's a smear job. Unlike Hunter Biden, where was it your laptop? I mean, that's such gobbledygook. And they take his word for it, okay? When there is physical evidence, when pictures from that laptop have been made public with a crack pipe and other things like that. I mean, so nothing to see here. And then with Matt Gaetz, asking for a pardon when that was a completely diluted story, okay? It doesn't, obviously, but see, this gets, we know that the media is completely biased, one-sided. but the first thing that you started here today, talking about what the Justice Department are doing to people in custody because of the riot on January 6th, that is so disturbing because what are you doing? I mean, for you and I, are you beating a story out of somebody? Is that what this is about? Making people compose? Is that what this is? We need to find this out. But you can't go around the world, Tony Blinken, talking about the virtues of the American justice system. You can't do it, okay? And then you let thousands and thousands of people over the border and giving them privileges, okay? When people, okay, fine. The Capitol rioters, they trespass, in some cases vandalized, okay? But I mean, there were these two underage girls that carjacked a car, and a Pakistani, if I'm correct,
Pakistani,
an Uber Eats guy gets killed. We saw it. Everybody saw it. Okay, and they're going to get off with a very, very light sentence. Okay, so I mean, we went through that the election, people putting into question the election integrity. And then on a daily basis now, what is the integrity of the justice system? It's horrifying.
It is horrifying. And in the meantime, I mean, which was that, I don't know whether you saw it, Peter, there was the interview with Chris Cuomo. Chris Cuomo interviewed one of the would-be extortionists of Matt Gaetz. And it was a kind of a really eye-opening interview because the guy was pretty much openly admitting that what he was doing was extortion. I mean, he writes a letter to Gates's father, pretty much saying that, well, your son's in a lot of trouble, and if you want these troubles to go away, I think perhaps it might be a good idea for you to cough up some $25 million, and then his problems will disappear, and he'll be a national hero. He said this on Chris Cuomo's show. Cuomo didn't really challenge him anything very much. I mean, it's like, he was much more aggressive with you than when you were on about the downing of that the airliner. Then Cuomo was up in arms, but here's this guy who's pretty much openly admitting that he acted like a mobster, saying effectively like, nice store you have here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it.
I didn't really know what to make of it because, I mean, is this gentleman going to be under investigation as well, or is he part of the investigation? What side of the law is this guy on? I was bewildered by that.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's exactly right. Because what he was engaged in, by his own admission, is pretty much kind of extortion. He's threatening the Gaetz family with all manner of legal consequences. And then he says, well, if you cough up $25 million to get this guy out, remember, a guy that is now has officially been declared dead. So he comes along and says, hey, $25 million to get a guy out who we all assume is dead. Your troubles will go away. And then he says, well, I heard all these things, it was on the grapevine about about Gates's legal problems. Well, what does that mean? Why does a shady character like this get to hear about an investigation within the Department of Justice? How does that story get to him?
But with this Levinson thing, it's like Martin Bormann, they're still looking for Martin Bormann. Right. Hitler's right-hand man. They're still looking for Martin Bormann, okay? Yep. And Levinson is kind of falling into that category here. Yes. I mean, I'm going to have to run in a couple of minutes here. But what this tells us, George, is that, this public facade that House of Representatives, the People's House, and then the facade of the DOJ and the FBI, when you look behind the veil, it's pretty grubby, grimy, very aggressive, selfish, greedy. Yeah. I mean, really, and when every once in a while you get a glimpse of what's going on there.
And exactly, and that's why we ask these questions. They're throwing the book at these people. Hundreds of people are being indicted. They're going to go on trial, and yet not one person has been put on trial over the Kavanaugh case, when they also did exactly the same thing. They stormed into the Senate, ransacked the senators' offices, Yet the DOJ, that same DOJ, this wasn't 100 years ago. This was 2 years ago. They did nothing. Not one person was prosecuted.
And some of the people that came forward to make a claim against Kavanaugh, was there any follow-up?
Oh, that's a very good point.
I mean, these people lied to the FBI. That is a felony.
Right.
I mean, and on top of it, the FBI can lie to you when you're talking to them, but you can't lie to them.
Right.
Okay, so what was her name? Sweetnick? Sweatnick?
Yeah, Sweatnick. Yeah.
What happened to her?
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I think that was a real question. I remember Dershowitz asked that very question, which is, hey, these people have lied under oath. They need to be prosecuted. You can't just go around making up stories about people, smearing them, and not face some consequences. But again, not one of them has faced any consequences. So yeah, we do look at the DOJ and say, this is a very, very narrow and very partisan body, which is terrifying because it's supposed to be the Department of Justice. It's supposed to be about justice. It's not supposed to be about, hey, let's use the powers of government to screw our enemies.
You know, I mean, going back to the trial that's coming up for the events of June 6th. I mean, are people? I mean, we had this prosecutor investigator, you know, going on. Was it CBS? I don't remember which.
60 Minutes as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, is he trying to make a name for himself? Or these people that are beating people, are they going to be at the trial too? I mean, is this going to be one big Star Chamber trial, and everyone's trying to make a name about it? You know, are these guards looking for a book deal or a Netflix deal? You know, I mean, it looks like, you know, there's so many other things going on than the last thing they're looking for is justice.
Right, right. No, I think that's very good. And I think the question you raised, you know, this beating and torture, maybe it is because of the hatred that is against these people that has been whipped up by the media and opportunist Democrat politicians, but it may be something even more sinister. They are trying to beat confessions out of them. Hey, we're gonna torture you, humiliate you day after day, because what they're saying is the conditions they're living in, which is they're living in virtually isolation, 23 hours a day of complete isolation. So it is like, it is.
I mean, I read I think it was on Tucker. I mean, one guy basically was loitering. Yeah. He's going to get sedition for loitering.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's, and that's clear. We can see already from these stories that the big promises that the DOJ made that they're going to have these great criminal cases to present against these people, that's falling apart. They don't really have anything other than, as you say, loitering, trespass, maybe one or two assault, damaging property. They don't have the big conspiracy to overthrow the government that they're hoping for.
It's going to be just like when after the 2016 election, when they started having the investigation into Russiagate, collusion, all that. Remember when Facebook was being cross-examined? So how much money did the Russians spend there? It was about $1,000. Everyone's face turns white. What? $1,000? So this is basically what we got. Okay, we're going to get some people that put out cigarette butts in the corridor, stole an ashtray, and put their feet on a desk. Okay, sedition.
Yeah. That's it. That's right. All right. Thank you, Peter. We will, of course, maintain our laser-like focus on the DOJ and this case that they're bringing. Remember, we are on Rumble. Please look us up there. And if you like the gaggle, please like, share, and subscribe. See you soon. Bye.